Hello, I'm Roxy Bourdillon. I'm the editor of DIVA magazine, and I am joined today by the brilliant Aisha Brown. Now, Aisha has served in the Air Force and the Marine Corps, and she now works as a program manager at Microsoft. She works with veterans and the LGBTQI community, helping people to get into the tech industry. She is an artist. She is a storyteller. She is awesome. Aisha, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Roxy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. First of all, happy Lesbian Visibility Week.
Thank you. It's a good week. It's a good week to be a lesbian. It's a good week. I feel seen.
Absolutely, yes. I feel seen too. It's good. It's very, very good. Let's start there. So, Aisha, what does visibility mean to you, and why is it important?
Ooh, visibility for me means being present. You know how you can be present but absent? Like you can be in the room, but the room's not really, you're just there, but you're not there. You didn't show up as yourself. So I think for me, being visible is not only just being present, but being there, being in my full authenticity, being like showing up Aisha, not showing up, for instance, like in the military, there was don't ask, don't tell. So I would have to show up, as Sergeant Brown or Gunnery Sergeant Brown or that person. And it wasn't truly who Aisha was. So visibility for me is Aisha taking her name back, using her name, using her voice. And then once I'm there, it's like, who else wants to come, and bringing people along?
Oh, you're so eloquent, aren't you? You're so good. I'm already getting chills and we're on the first question. Amazing. Perfect. I'm already excited that we're talking for Lesbian Visibility Week. This is perfect. Okay. So you are so fascinating. You've had such an interesting journey. So let's go back to your time in the military. You served under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. What was that like for you?
I served both pre and post. It was hard. So let's take a journey back in time. Think about joining the military at 17, right? You're 17, you just leave the house, you have your first real job, career, but you're also in your dating years. And as you're trying to figure out who you are, what you like, what you don't like, and you're bringing all these different perspectives together, you have this piece of you. You know that that's you, but you also know that if you choose to do that, it'll take away everything else that you worked for. So you kind of get to suffer in silence. You have your first relationship, your first heartbreak in silence. A lot of people from the community experience deaths and suicides, and we went through a war and we lost people we loved, and we couldn't grieve out loud. You could watch the person to the left argue with their spouse, beat up their spouse, and be okay, but you couldn't have a bad day. You always had to be on because nobody could know. So it was hard. So when it got repealed, it was kind of like, but you still had that anxiety and that fear around, well, it's just going to be another way for me to get in trouble. Now what are they going to do? So yeah, it was a growing time.
And you joined the military at just 17?
Had to get parental consent.
Wow. And what drove you to that decision? Why did you choose that as your career path?
I was from New York City. I am the second oldest of, I think there's 8 of us. And I needed to get out of New York. I knew I was gay. My father didn't approve of my lifestyle. So I wanted to be away. I wanted to be able to afford to be away. I wanted to be able to just do it on my own. And I knew other people in my family had served and were serving. So I was like, there's my way out. And it was my way out.
And you've just spoken so eloquently about that kind of struggle, that dynamic of being an LGBTQIA person in the military and that push and pull. Were there things that you loved about serving? Do you have any positive memories of your time there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't replace the impact that the people make in your life. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. I have some amazing friends. I have been, you know, all over the world, everywhere but Antarctica. I've been, it's yeah, I mean, I have great people. The same people who I recruited and brought into the military, you know, I've brought them to Microsoft or Facebook or Google, and I still get to bring people along. It created this community that the community just keeps growing and it keeps giving back. So I love the military for that. The network is absolutely phenomenal. I love people. So and you, one way to meet people is be in the military.
And then tell me about your decision when it came to leave the military and to have that career switch.
It was a hard decision because when you love the people you work with, like you feel like you're letting them down if you choose you. Because but I came to work and I was like, I'm gonna get out the military. I said I'm gonna get out the Marine Corps and go to Microsoft. Those were my exact words. And you can't talk to your active duty friends about leaving the military because they've never done it. You know, it's been their whole life too. So we're like in this little snow globe together. And you know, no one really goes outside in the real world. I was like, I'm getting out. And they're like, no, you still got, you know, I had time. But what I knew I wanted to do, I couldn't do in the military any longer. And you can only go so far. And then once you hit that ceiling, it's like, you know, you can't be CEO of the Marine Corps. So it's, and how could I make the biggest impact in the lives of the people I've met, the ones that I've brought along, and the ones I have yet to even meet or experience? And for me, it was a no-brainer. I had to do it outside of the military because the community was still hurting outside of the military. You know, there was still a gap and disparity, especially in tech, outside of the military. So I wanted to be in that space because once you're in the space, you can bring people in.
And you said very specifically there that you like named what you wanted. You named your goal to work
Yes.
specifically for Microsoft. Why was it Microsoft specifically that was right for you?
Microsoft's goals kind of aligned with who I am to the core as a person. And then the same reasons why I came to Microsoft were the same reasons why I came to the Marine Corps. You know, Microsoft wants to empower, you know, every person and organization on this planet to do more. All I want to do is help people do more. Like, what's your dreams? What are your goals? What do you want to do? All right, let's do it. You know, it's like my tagline. All right, let's do it. How can we get there? You know, and it works for me. That's the fulfilling part of my job is the tech is the tech. And, you know, I sit here with this command station. You can see there's a monitor here, two monitors here, a monitor here, camera there, microphone. But what fulfills me at the end of the day is the thank you. You know, you've changed our lives. I'm the first person to be able to buy a house for my family. I'm like, those are the things, the intangibles that you can't, it's a feeling you can't fake.
Very good. A feeling you can't fake. You're a very good speaker, aren't you, Aisha? You're very good at your motivational speeches. I'm feeling very inspired and motivated just listening to you. It's wonderful.
Oh, I appreciate
really good. And what was that like when you left the military? Because that's got to be a major change in your life. What was it like adjusting back to civilian life?
I'm glad I was on recruiting duty because that kind of gave me a level balance to where I was in the community. I was recruiting. I started in South Central Los Angeles, then I went down to San Diego, and then I went to Orange County. So I was in the community. I was working and dealing with civilians every day. I was talking to parents, talking to educators. So I was in the community. So it wasn't that awkward. I'm a Marine, you're a civilian. You know, I was really embedded in the community. And I always kept civilian friends because if you only hang out with people like you, then you miss out on a whole new world. You miss out on a whole world, you know? So, but when I got out, I relocated to Redmond, to Seattle. And I remember I was in the hallway and I just had this glossy look over my face. And another female veteran, her name's Ryan. she's like, she knew that I was coming. So like, there's a military at Microsoft Network. And they announced that I was coming. And she was like, hey, I'm in Israel right now, but when I get back, I'd love to meet you. I'm like, okay. I had never met her. She walks up to me. She's like, you're Aisha, right? I was like, yeah. She's like, you are not okay right now. Let's go for a walk. And yeah, it was like, she saw exactly where I was, and that it was overwhelming. It was very, very, very overwhelming, because it was like, do I belong here? Why am I here? Like, and I always have to remember to ground myself and remind myself of my why. You know, why did I choose this? Why am I doing this? Like, what's my purpose in all this? And who she is for me, I wanted to make sure every veteran that came behind me, I could be that for them. So, you know, I watch, I pay attention, I check in on people, and it's like sometimes, and it's okay not to be okay. Be like, all right, this is overwhelming. I understand it. You know, we're the combat veteran generation. You know, I was in Iraq the night of the invasion of the first war, like when it first kicked off. So we've seen and we've done things. We've trauma bonded, and only the people who are there can understand it and can recognize sometimes when it's just like, oh, hey, let's go. Let's go for a walk. Let's go talk it out, you know? So I think it was a time. But now on the other side of that, it's refreshing to be able to be that welcoming face or that figure, like, hey, welcome to Microsoft. I see you're a veteran. Let me educate you on the shell shock you're about to go through. All right. But it's okay. You're going to get through it. I promise. And, you know, have those conversations. Be like, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're going to be like, what is this? You know? Ta-da.
And something else that you do is, you've kind of touched on it there, but you have talked quite openly at conferences and so on about your experiences of being in combat, your experiences with PTSD and anxiety and all of these things. What's it like for you being so open about these topics? And when you do share about that, what sort of response do you get from people?
I mean, I had a guy one time jump up on stage, pick me up and hug me, because he remembered me from a small town in Iraq. And when you talk about it, you take the taboo out. You know, if think about, let's use something everyone can level set. Think about COVID, right? Now, when people started coughing, if you hid your cough and the person next to you hid your cough, the person next to them hid their cough, and no one knew that the whole world was coughing, do we get better? It's like, hey, something's wrong over there. We should probably help treat that. So if we're not talking about it, we're not treating it. And if we're not treating it, we're not getting better. We're not doing it justice. And then we're just giving it to other people. We're just, it becomes this thing that multiplies. So how do you stop it from multiplying? Because if I have anxiety and I'm stressed out all the time, and I'm like, I'm going to give that to my child. And then I'm going to walk around here with a high-strung child who will probably raise a high-strung child. So how do you start breaking down those traumas and those things and addressing them and dealing with it and making it okay to be like, hey, this is what's going on right now. And I might not have the answer to it, but if I say that this is wrong with me right now, you know, Roxy might go, hey, you know what? I deal with that too. Break down into a child's pose and let's do some breathing exercises, you know, just something. But you can't get help if nobody knows you're hurting, if you don't talk about it.
Definitely. So another of the many strings to your bow is that you're also an artist.
I love art.
You
I
do
love art.
Look at the smile on your face.
I shouldn't have cleaned my office yesterday. I was like, because I had portraits lined up actually they're over there, but I had like paintings that I just did some portraits. I just did one of the CEO, you know, I did Jessica Matthews from Uncharted. She's the CEO of Uncharted. And I did St. John, Bozeman, St. John. And so they're sitting over there, but I love to paint. I love to paint.
So you're known as the tech Picasso because you are such an artist and such a tech whiz. How did you discover this love of art that you've got?
PTSD and anxiety. PTSD and anxiety. I was just sitting there, just nervously sketching without looking at the paper. And I would go one paper at a time, one paper at a time, one paper at a time. And then when I got done about 2 days later, I put it all together and saw that it was a whole painting. And I was like, oh. And I could do it. I could stare at you right now, go back, have 5 pieces of paper, put them all together, and it'll be you. Like, all right, thanks, babe.
Is that a little cameo from?
That's
from
my partner. It is. It's a cameo from the wife.
I love that.
She's still in the military right now, so
yeah, I was thinking either still in the military or just loves the look. But yeah,
she loves the look too.
Oh,
no, she doesn't. She doesn't love the look. No. But yeah, it's cool. It's a good. And I play with different things. You know, like I started playing with pours and gold foil, woodwork. I just whatever. I'm a big Basquiat fan. It's my favorite artist. Little Basquiat bear in the back. Very
good. I've just noticed. I'm not very observant, am I? I've just noticed that we've got an animal in the background.
Oh, that's Sammy. Sammy makes a cameo in every single video, keynote, podcast, you name it. Sammy's there.
I love
that. She's only awake now because my wife's still home. If my wife wasn't home, Sammy would be asleep and a figurine.
Oh, she looks great. Wonderful, wonderful. So Aisha, we're talking about visibility here, and we talked a little bit about your time in the military, and now you're at Microsoft and you're an artist and you're a speaker and a storyteller and you're doing all these awesome things. Do you feel like these days you are bringing your full self to work? Do you feel like you are kind of, fully inhabiting that authentic self?
Oh yeah, I think that I get to sprinkle a lot of me all over Microsoft, and I really feel empowered to do so. I literally, so this year I'm planning Microsoft's Pride, our internal kickoff, taking it into the VR space. We're going to do an external event too, taking it into the VR space. And it really was, all right, Aisha, what's your vision? I get to throw a pride, an international pride in virtual reality. And I really get to drive the vision. So it's like, well, what do I think of when I think about pride, when I think about inclusivity, when I think about accessibility, when I think about, visibility, being seen? I want every letter and everything that falls under the plus to feel like this is their pride. So it's been, I this is probably the first time in my life in any career I've ever had where I really get to bring Aisha to work. I've showed up to meetings on roller skates. I've been painting through entire meetings. It's like, Aisha, what are you doing? No, I'm just painting. But I can, I'm still delivering because if that's what I need to call me at the time, that's what I'm gonna do. And no one, I don't feel judged. I don't feel judged. It's like, that's kind of awesome. Can we talk about that for a minute? All right, let's do it. And yeah, it's almost frightening when you really get to just be you. Like all your quirks, you get to be you. It's like being in a marriage with an employer that knows everything about you and doesn't judge you for it.
Very good. And you're passionate about diversity in tech. What advice would you give to any LGBTQIA+ people who might be watching this and they might be interested in getting into the tech industry? What would you say to them?
Reach out. I don't care if you reach out to me. I don't care if you're across the pond, across the street, across the water, at the beach. Reach out, talk to people, network. Your voice has to be in tech. Everybody's voice. In a room full of right-handed people, nobody cares about a left-handed person. So there needs to be a left-handed person in the room to say, hey, this product is not going to work for us, not for the lefties. Okay, why? diversity in tech is diversity in thought. Diversity in thought is really being able to help everybody, because we don't all think the same. I do this social experiment with people. All right, I'm gonna do it. It's just me and you. So, all right, you ready?
Okay.
Cool. So on the count of three, I want you to give me a country that starts with the letter D. 1, 2, 3.
Denmark.
Okay. On the count of three, I want you to give me an animal that starts with the letter E. So 1, 2, 3.
Eel.
Got it. All right, cool. So I will tell you that about 99% people say Denmark. Everybody says Denmark. I need somebody in the room that remembers Dubai and the Dominican Republic. You know, you said eel, which is great because everybody else says elephant.
Oh, elephant.
Yeah, you know, I need, but everyone says elephant. If everyone's selling elephant, who's taking care of the eels? Who's taking care of the emus? Who's taking care of the eagles, you know? And where you are, what you've been through, what you've been exposed to, and how you process the world, all of that plays into the diversity of thought. And you need that in tech, because we cannot all just be yes to the tech. Like yes to the yes, because nothing changes, nothing grows. We stop innovating, and we're only trying to create clones of ourselves. So everybody needs to be in the room. It's a great place to be. You really get to see your work in action. And if you can dream it, you can think it, you can build it, and you can help people. Like, yeah, I'm here. If anybody wants to break into tech and you're like, I don't know where to start, cool, reach out. Fine. I'm so easy to find. I'm actually responsive too. I'm LinkedIn. I'm the only iAsia Brown. I think so. Pretty sure.
Brilliant. And you're such an impressive person, Aisha. What's been your proudest achievement in life?
I gave birth to this child that is way smarter than me. She'll be 13 next month.
Oh, wow.
And I can honestly say there's not a day that I don't look at her and I'm just in awe of how her mind works and just what she's doing and how she's processing her ability to just see life through a lens that I'm just like, I wish at your age I had this type of insight. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm parenting right. I'm making it. I tell her I'm just making this up as we go. We talk about everything. But her empathy level is just amazing. Her empathy and her IQ are like hand in hand. And it's, you know, so you usually you don't really get that with people. So to see her being able to put that in action and follow her passions, she has a voice. She has a voice. She has had a voice for a very long time. And I get to watch her use it. And I'm just like, she said it, not me. I'm just here to facilitate. So my proudest achievement is absolutely my daughter.
Brilliant. That's the perfect answer. That's absolutely gorgeous. And then my last question for you is, if you could go back in time and speak to your younger self. So if you could speak to yourself when you were around 17, because we were talking about that age earlier, what would be your words to the younger Aisha?
My first thought would be keep buying Microsoft stock. It would don't give up on that thought. So when I was younger, one of my original, I guess, things that I wanted to solve for was I had a friend who had a prosthetic leg as a child, and then of course, you know, seeing it later on in life through wars and seeing children affected by it, I've always wanted to develop a prosthetic that would grow with children through puberty. And for a very long time, I let the people who surrounded me make me feel like it was a dumb idea or that I couldn't do it. And I would go back and just tell myself, like, no, keep doing it. Stay the course. You'll be further along tomorrow than you are today, and just keep going. So yeah. I would tell myself to keep going.
Wonderful. And I've so enjoyed talking to you today. Is there anything that we've not covered that you'd like to share with the world for Lesbian Visibility Week?
Ooh, it is Lesbian Visibility Week, right?
Mm.
And we know the story on how the L started in the LGBTQIA. We know how the L got there first, right?
Share, enlighten us.
No, I'm serious. So from my understanding, and I could be wrong, someone can fact check it. My understanding is that it started with during the AIDS epidemic, because the lesbians were the ones donating blood to the gay men in hospitals, and they were their nurses and they were their support system. So in solidarity and support of, the L came first in the letters, right? So I will say during this week of visibility, we can continue to do what we do best, and that's highlight other communities and bring them to the forefront and make sure that we advocate and do our due diligence by them. So yeah, I mean, we came first for a reason. It's because we don't put people last.
Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous note to end on. We came first because we don't put people last. That's just lovely. Aisha, I'm sure everyone watching this is going to be a super fan of you. If they want to find you, if they want to follow your work, if they want to reach out and get in touch, what's the best way to do that?
So if you're on IG, I'm tech_Picasso. LinkedIn, Aisha Brown. Facebook, you can find me. If you put in the name, you'll find me. I guarantee it. I'm very, very easy to find. But depending on what my inbox looks like, give me about 2 days, but I typically respond to everyone.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for chatting to Diva for Lesbian Visibility Week, Aisha. What a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you.
Thank you, Roxy. It's a pleasure to meet you.